A study done by the University of Arizona showed that the average person speaks a total of 16,000 words per day. You multiply that by how many people are on Earth, and we find that approximately 124 trillion words are spoken each and every single day on Earth. For you and me, if you take the life expectancy at 79 years and multiply that by the words per day, you find that the average person speaks a total of 455 million words in their lifetime. Now, these words can make up a multitude of things, from jokes to stories and passing comments and life-altering advice. So it's safe to say there's power in the words we speak, and it's always important to build others up with what we say. But what about the space between those words? The silence where you're left alone with your own thoughts and feelings and emotions, where you can hear the appliance, the faint buzz from the appliance down the hall, and you notice your breathing patterns and your heartbeat while the world around you presses on in the form of that ticking clock on the wall. Now, I would say that many of us would try to avoid that silence at all costs, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. Perhaps some of you are extremely active and you have to be doing something, and you're sitting around and you just have to do the laundry or clean your room or go for a walk with headphones in, whatever it looks like. You just can't sit still. For others, you try to avoid the silence because you are flooded with those anxious thoughts and feelings that come with any time you get a chance to take a break. Some of us here avoid the silence because processing that death of the family member is just too painful. Some of us avoid the silence because we don't know how to go about processing the abuse we endured as a child. Whatever it is, it can be covered up momentarily by the noise of the world, but only momentarily, because it'll still be there when we get back. So we'll take a look at Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. And here we find the beginning moments of Jesus' ministry on earth after he was baptized. You'll find that there's nothing spectacular that draws in hundreds and thousands of people. There's no miracles that take place right away. And Jesus doesn't even address the religious leaders that are doubting and insulting him from a distance. Here's what happens instead. Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 3 says, "Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. Then the tempter came to him and said, 'If you are truly the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread.'" Really? This is how this Jesus guy starts it off? This is the first thing he does? Why does the Spirit lead Jesus into the wilderness? And you're trying to tell me that he went 40 days without eating and still fought off the devil? Listen, I would be lying if I said that I hadn't thought and asked same questions as that. But it's my belief, and we believe as Christians, that the Bible is truth. And it's only by faith, with the help of the Holy Spirit, that we can come to terms with these crazy stories that we read in the Bible, like Jesus fasting for 40 days. But the word wilderness here comes from the Greek word eremos. Eremos. And this has a variety of translations, from the lonely place or the desolate place and the quiet place. Whatever word you want to put in there, eremos is where Jesus spent these 40 days and 40 nights. And then after these days were over, the tempter, the devil himself, came right to Jesus in his hunger, in his thirst, in his lack of social interaction for 40 days. And Jesus had to be so weak, right? John Mark Comer, the teaching pastor at Practicing the Way, believes that this is where many of us get the story wrong when it comes to this here. You see, we're under the assumption that the tempter is coming to Jesus in his greatest moment of weakness. But Pastor John Mark says that that's not the case, that the eremos isn't a place of weakness, but instead a place of strength. And that he offers the perspective shift that might help you see that these 40 days of silence and solitude with the Father are exactly what Jesus needed in preparation to go toe-to-toe with the devil. So physically, Jesus was at his breaking point, but spiritually, he was never stronger to this point. But how was Jesus strong at all, you might ask? Some of you will say that, Devin, it's Jesus. He can do anything and whatever he wants. And to that I say, you're correct. But what if I told you that Jesus didn't rely on his divinity in this moment? Meaning that it wasn't just because he was the Son of God that he was able to combat the devil. What if I told you that you and I are expected and capable of fighting temptation in this way through the practice of silence and solitude? Not by our own doing, but in total reliance on God. And what would it look like if together we sought after these practices of Jesus as a community of believers? Friends, I think the answer is right in front of us. We would see that silence and solitude strengthens our souls. Silence and solitude strengthens our souls. And the story of Jesus in the wilderness, of course, ends with Jesus refusing to fall to Satan's temptations of self-sufficiency, recklessness, and greed. But Jesus doesn't stop there. He's not satisfied with just this one victory. And after these 40 days and 40 nights, look what the book of Mark says Jesus does the very next day. Mark chapter 1, verses 35 through 36 says, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up from the house and went out into the solitary place to pray. The eremos. Jesus went right back there the very next day. And not only did he go back there the next day, but Luke chapter 5, verse 16 says that Jesus often withdrew to lonely places to pray. Do you see it? Jesus made this a regular part of his life because he found out that this was the place that he could rest and the ever-growing demand for his attention in his ministry. And Jesus models this as that we need more solitude and silence with the Father instead of just eliminating it altogether. A friend of mine is a pastor in Fort Wayne, and he told me of this crazy week that he had one time between school and work, and that he felt so overwhelmed to the point where he could not handle one more thing to be thrown on his plate. I feel like we've been there before. He told me about this 4-day stretch that he went without eating lunch because he just went to work, and that he was the first one in and the last one out of the office every single day until Friday. Friday, he had this strange urge to take a break, like an actual break. He said that he went to the pond and left his phone in the car, eliminated all distractions, didn't take anything that he could busy himself with, and just rested for an hour. He recalled feeling the breeze on his face for the first time in what felt like months. He told me about this blade of grass, this one blade of grass, that every time he saw it, his attention was directed back to the God that created it within this self-sustaining system on earth. He told me that once he got back to the office, that he was more refreshed and more energized than he had felt in a very long time. Friends, that's it. This practice doesn't have to be planned. But for you type A people, it's okay for it to be planned. This isn't something that should be mentally or physically draining, because then it wouldn't be restful. This is a time for rest. How nice does that sound? Yet nobody takes the time to do it. Very few of us take the invitation from Jesus into this rest during all of life's turmoil. We'll see this invitation highlighted in Scripture where Jesus tells his disciples to come away with me by yourselves to the lonely place and rest. True rest. And that invitation is here for you to take it. Will you? Friends, in the ever-growing, always changing world that produces all of this noise around us, there's a chance for you to stop and rest and be with God. But I have to tell you that the solitude piece that we're talking about here is not that of unhealthy isolation. This isn't an okay to go and watch Netflix for 10 hours in a day, or to scroll through your phone on TikTok for endless amount of time while the world waits on you and wonders where you are within your community of people that God has provided for you. This isn't an okay to play video games for extended amount of time. You still need to press into the community around you. But solitude is just as important as the community. Solitude with the Father will refresh and strengthen your soul. So don't shy away from this eremos place. Don't shy away from the silence, because this is a chance for you to find true rest. Now, I want to offer you 3 different ways for you to put this in practice. And it doesn't have to look like it does for me. It doesn't have to look like for the person that you talk to about this message. But the first one is a digital detox. Take time to turn off your phone, to eliminate that distraction and that ever-growing need for the attention that the world around you can provide. Take time to turn it off. Take time to go out into nature and put down the social media that gives you those anxious thoughts of saying that you're not good enough. For me, this looks like not having notifications on for any of my texts, for emails, for social media, or anything. This eliminates the grasp that my technology and my phone has on my life, and I can be in charge of my time spent on my phone. The second one is a retreat into silence. And just like my friend in Fort Wayne did, the same opportunity is available to you. Go into a quiet place where you can rest, you can read, you can pray, you can just sleep, you can take a nap. Sometimes, friends, a nap is the most spiritual thing you can do. The third practice I want to invite you into is to take a vow of silence. Intentionally eliminate your contribution to the noise of the world and just be silent for an extended amount of time. No texting, no talking, no shouting, no singing. This is a way for you to take inventory on your heart and address what your thoughts are and give those up to the Lord. The Bible says whatever is on your heart flows from the mouth. And if you're not producing noise with your mouth, then you have this chance to really take inventory of what is on your heart. So embrace the silence. Strengthen your soul. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be weird. And it's going to be difficult for a lot of us, because for many, this is a first-time practice. But don't shy away from the quiet place. Don't be scared of what might await you, because God is bigger and stronger than anything that is in the silence. May it be so.